We continue live right here, Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani and Paul Zeise with you. We go to Twitter first. We have a lot of tweets about the Penguins tonight. Pens Lover says, why do you keep exhausted players on the ice for over 2 minutes? If you don't have faith in other players, maybe they should be moved on. And what he's referring to is the fact that in the last couple of minutes of the game when the goalie pulled, the Penguins, after icing calls, kept the same star players out there. And clearly they were out of gas. And eventually an empty net was scored by Taylor Hall as the Penguins tried to pass and pass and pass instead of shoot, shoot, shoot. When you have an extra guy on the ice, the easiest thing to do, Paul, is to put the puck on the net and go for a rebound. And the skilled players, Kessel, Letang, Malkin, all they did was perimeter passing before one shot was blocked, and that led to an empty net goal.
Yeah, I mean, and what's ironic is, they started off the season telling us that that this was the deepest team they've ever had. So where is this depth at, is what I would like to know. And again, I think it comes down to they're not playing well right now. Number two, they are no longer the fastest team or close to the fastest team. All these younger teams and all these teams with all these younger players, they all built based on the model that the Penguins made. So they've got guys with a lot of speed that happen to be, a little younger and hungrier and all that other stuff. So, that element of the Penguins game, they no longer dominate that area. And so they've got to play differently. You know what I mean?
They still think they do dominate that area. And if you're going to keep doing that, you're going to run into a trap because other teams will keep up with you.
I mean, but they continue to play that way. They've got to start playing a little differently.
Yes. One more tweet before we go. Darla Burnott says, sorry, just got in. I missed. Did Le'Veon Bell show? No, Darla. He didn't show. Let's go to line 2. That's Whalen in Washington. Hey, Whalen, how you doing?
Hi, Bob. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
I really appreciate you guys, as well as number 25 for the Pitt Panthers. But listen, all Super Bowl teams always had a good offensive line. And with our offensive line coach, you think they might have that magic this year?
I think they're as good as anyone in the league in opening up holes, and those starting 5 are terrific. It's funny, Paul, he mentioned, Pitt too. Pitt, man, that offensive line looks like the Steeler offensive line, open up gaping holes. And there's a lot to be said to having guys who've been around the program for a long time. They have a lot of seniors with experience, and those two running backs may be the best tandem in the country right now, the way things are going.
Well, the thing about it is, and, people sort of laugh when Pat Narduzzi said, hey, there's a lot of teams that want to play other sports. We're still going to play football, which means we're going to line up, and you're going to have to stop us running the football. The game is easier if you can do that. I don't care what anybody says. I know it's a passing league, and college football is passing, but if you can physically dominate teams like the Steelers and Pitt did, the Steelers every week, Pitt the last few weeks, have dominated up front. If you can do that, the rest of the game seems pretty easy, doesn't it?
It also just sends a terrible message to the other team. They get beaten down, and they know they can't stop it. And when you know you can't stop it, and I think both in the Steelers and Pitt case right now, they're telling you we're going to run the ball. Kenny Pickett hasn't really developed the way I thought he would or hoped to, but they only passed the ball 11 times last week, and they still had 674 total yards. How does that happen?
Well, and the thing is, he hit a couple of big throws down the field and a couple of throws just to keep him off balance. But the thing about Pitt, they've got a 1-2 punch. So they've got 2 fresh running backs who are both not small guys, by the way. They've got 2 fresh running backs in the fourth quarter. By then, you're just like, man, we got to keep tackling these guys. And it's the same thing with Pitt and with the Steelers and James Conner. You get tired of that. You get tired of tackling a guy who's putting his head down and running through you every time he runs the ball.
We have Cal Hammer on Twitter. Says, once again, as far as the Penguins are concerned, the Harlem Globetrotters of hockey. And sometimes they do get carried away with that, and they're going to have to change that part of the game. Let's go to line 3. That's Tony in the Hill District. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
Thank you for calling, Tony.
Thank you. I was going to talk about the Le'Veon Bell thing, but that door's shut as of today. I do want to ask you guys a question. I know it's still early and everything, but do you think that the Penguins have a chance to go to the playoffs this year by the way they're playing?
Yes. It's still, there are too many teams that make it and don't make it. They're still one of the better teams, and they got too much elite talent not to. It's just a matter now, though, of you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're so far down, you make it difficult matchup-wise. And also, like we just talked about, it comes down to what you think you have to do to counteract. Other teams responded to the Penguins in their style of play over the last 2 years. Now, the Penguins may have to readapt to what they're doing to try to get the better of that.
Here's the thing. The Penguins over the last few years, they've hit their stride at about mid-December. So, you know,
There's still time.
They're just one of those teams that sort of gets out of the gate slow. I don't think they're very, you know, they have a hard time getting interested. But then all of a sudden they fall behind, and in January they reel off one of those, you know, 13 wins and, you know, 16 game type things, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you know, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they have to watch. It's a team that, you know, runs largely on an outstanding power play with a bunch of very talented players. But if you try to live and die on that, sometimes you will die on that too. You got to do better 5-on-5 as well. Wayne Lewis on Twitter says Le'Veon Bell reminds me of the Ricky Waters show when he took time off and then he returned. Let's go to Marilyn in Munhall. Marilyn, you're up next.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Paul. Thanks for taking my call. I don't know if I'm understanding this correctly, but as of March, they could put a franchise tag on Le'Veon Bell and then try to trade him off to somebody. Is that
they were taking on trade talk suggestions, but nothing ever materialized. And you got to believe the teams were saying, okay, fine, we're not going to give you anything because we know where he's going right now. He's going to be free at the end of this year, at least we think so, and then we take our shot with then. Although I was surprised that somebody didn't make a better offer maybe than a third-round pick, given the fact that Martavis Bryant fetched a third-round pick from Oakland. You would have thought if someone wanted to jump, you know, the other people. Now, I know they can't negotiate during a franchise tag, but at least you get a feel for what that player has if you have him in your camp.
Who was the Giants player that got traded? Was it the Giants? It was a receiver or?
Amari Cooper from Oakland?
Yeah. What did he get?
He got 2 picks. I think a second and a
You know
fourth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. But
Khalil Mack got a whole bunch in
right.
return,
Well,
so
that's different. But what I'm saying is, I look at that, and that might be a preview of what he's facing in free agency.
Could be.
Someone's going to give him money, but I don't know if anyone's going to break the bank for him.
The Steelers offered him $70 million total dollars, not guaranteed, $70 million total. What I think is going to happen, too, is some offer will come out, whether it's the Jets or whether it's the Colts or whether it's the Ravens, the Eagles, whomever, because teams need players like that. But they're not going to make it what he wants. He wants like 45 to 50 to 60 guarantee. He ain't going to get that.
Right.
He might get that total dollars and half of that maybe guaranteed, which means, to your point, what's he doing wasting $15 million this year?
What's the point of it? If, again, you've got to subtract the $14.5 million away from whatever he gets guaranteed.
Right.
If it's only like 30, 28, 29, 30, this was a waste of a year for him.
Yeah, he's healthy, but that's all he has to say. He's worked on a rap career, too. I don't know where that's going. Let's go to Harold and Erwin. Hey, Harold, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I have a question for Paul.
Go right ahead. He's here.
Paul, a couple of weeks ago, you talked about your son's high school coaches, and you said you had a lot of respect for them. What would you say in a couple of weeks or a couple of years about Narduzzi?
What you mean? What I say about Pat Narduzzi in a couple of years? Meaning looking back
about how you hung up, so yeah. I don't know the answer.
Well, I mean, I actually talked about this today. I did an interview with somebody about this today. I can say without a doubt, the one thing about Pat Narduzzi is he clearly loves his players and takes care of his players. And he, as a father, I can't be happier with the way that he's treated his players and the way he's treated my son. So, yeah, I have lots of respect for Pat Narduzzi.
We're going to take a break. We have more calls coming up. We have Rick, Jaden, Jim, and Jeff all coming up next right here live on Pittsburgh CW.